Joining us now to talk about this via Zoom is the spokesperson of the Ondo Police Command, Fumilayo Odunlami. Of course, we'll be bringing in a reporter who has been monitoring this story for us, Ayodeji Muradio, during this time as well. Welcome, Fumilayo Odunlami.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you tell us, can you give us an assessment of the state of the kids and the adults when you guys met them there?
Well, as when the police got there, I think a service was actually going on, and they tried seeing the pastor or the church member. We are seeing people in uniform. They became violent and started attacking the policemen. Well, for me, I think they were relatively okay. Not that they were looking tattered like that, but of course, they've been in church for almost 4 days or 5 days before then, according to the pastor anyway.
Mrs. Odunlami, when these children were rescued on Friday, you said preliminary investigations were ongoing, something we always hear security agencies say. But what's the very, very latest as regards this rescue and these children? What other additional information can you tell us between Friday and now?
Okay, well, another thing we realized was that some of these parents were attending the church before now, but later they felt the church was preaching heresy. Some pastor was going and encouraging divorce in marriage and so many other things. So he felt that was not good enough, and that was why he had to leave. And we had to ask him, you left the church and you left your children there. What happened? He said it was this particular girl, sorry, lady now, because I think she's 21 or so, that said she was not convinced that she needed to leave the church. And he felt, okay, let me just leave her and let her have a way. That it was later he realized that the lady was, maybe they intend giving out the daughter's hand married to someone, and she stopped schooling without informing her parents.
But what does this case, what can you tell us about this case? Is this like a novel case now in Ondo State, or while you've been there, what experience have you had handling a case like this? How does it stand out to you?
In person, I think this is more of a new case in Ondo State. But of course, we've had so many cases related to religion, but we've not had it in a situation whereby parents would have to report that they were not even given access. They were unable to gain access into the church to even see their children. However, until investigation is over, I can't really say this is the outcome or this is what is going to be the outcome.
Okay.
How would you assess the pastor? Because the pastor was saying that it was what God told him to tell the people, that he is actually doing this, fulfilling the words of God that he heard from heaven. Are you guys going to assess him also on the basis of his sanity?
Yes. Well, there are two pastors here. But basically, the parents that came actually complained more about the assistant pastor. That's Pastor Asuno Musa, Josiah Peter. What we had was that initially his name was Peter Asuno Musa, but later he changed the Asuno Musa to Josiah. So they started calling him Pastor Josiah Peter. He was the one saying he taught them what was in the Bible, that the Bible says, obey your parents and the Lord. He was actually asked that even the Ephesians 6, chapter 1, that was chapter 6, verse 1 that was being claimed, that even the verse 2 talked about honor thy father and thy mother. That's the only commandment with the promise. And even in the Old Testament, the commandment said that honor thy father. He said no, that he is teaching what is in the Bible, and what is in his own Bible is obey your parents and the Lord. So of course, we are going to ask further questions. If we need to maybe go as far as checking his sanity, we will do that. But investigation is ongoing. It's based on what he keeps saying that determines how we will go about it.
That text in the Bible, well, how is he analyzing it? It's still confusing because I know the text very Ephesians 6:1-3. Say, children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor your father and mother. This is which is the first commandment with promise, that it may be well with thee and that thou mayest live long upon the earth.
Yeah.
What has this got to do with separating children from their parents? And it says, parents, do not provoke your children to wrath. Verse 4.
Mrs. Odunlami.
Mrs. Odunlami.
SP Fumi, I prefer SP Fumi, please.
Okay, it does.
Mrs. Odunlami,
Please continue.
Mrs. Odunlami, you're live. The question was just asked. Did you hear the
Sorry, I
question?
didn't hear that.
Did you hear the question?
No, I did not.
Okay, let me take it again. I recited the text that has been contentious. Say, children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor your mother and your mother, which is the first commandment with promise, that it may be well with thee and thou mayest live long upon the earth. Even verse 4 says, parents, do not provoke your children to wrath. Yeah. So what is it in this text that the pastors are using to separate the children from their parents?
Well, investigation will reveal that I can't say directly that this is the way he's preaching the gospel, because he's still insisting on just the verse 1 for reasons best known to him. And of course, the children too. I think they believe what he has been saying. And like the lady that was interviewed said that I should obey my parents and the Lord. The lady went as far as saying Christianity or Jesus Christ is a personal race, and she has to be convinced that she needed to leave the church. And for her, anyone who is not following what a pastor is teaching is not on the Lord. And if her parents had left the church because they felt the pastor was not preaching what was in the Bible, they are no longer in the Lord. That, I think it's a form of indoctrination. And that's another thing. Parents too should learn to train their children, teach them. Don't leave everything for pastors. If you are in your house and you're teaching, if you have a kind of mini Bible study in the morning, devotion, some of these things might not come up because your children will have understood these things from home. Because somebody like me, I don't know how you want to tell me I should obey my parents and the Lord and forget the place of honor thy father and thy mother. But sometimes, perhaps the pastor is actually picking the one that suits him, and he has his way. He has a way of making these people believe whatever he's teaching.
All right. Mrs. Odunlami, I have a number of questions to ask. Perhaps we could confirm again the number of children that were rescued. I know that we have reported 23 and 54 adults. Can you kindly confirm that number for us, the number of children and adults rescued? I'm also wondering if the assistant pastor is now more powerful than the pastor indeed. So where is the pastor of that church? And perhaps my third question would be, just how long were they in custody? Just how long were they in that underground cell?
Okay, we have 26 children, 43 adults, with 8 teenagers. Aside from that, you talked about, we can't actually call it imprisonment, because some of these children that were rescued, their parents too were in the church with them.
All right, Mr. Odunlami, let me put you on hold. Our reporter, Ayodeji Moradio, who has been tracking the story, please don't go, Mrs. Odunlami. Let's also get updates from TVC News correspondent Ayodeji Moradio, who's been following this story. Hello, Ayodeji. Interesting story we got from your end. But tell us what residents are saying. How much of a big issue is this for residents? There's talk about indoctrination. These are adults, for crying out loud, in addition to children. Tell us more about this peculiar case.
For the residents who live where the church is situated, it's a big issue because last Friday they mobilized that church and they went inside the church to rescue these children with the police, because at the point some youths in the area are not happy with the situation. So they have to mobilize themselves to go to that place. And when they got the wind that there was a kind of a place where the children were kept, But when they got there, it was not a resale the way people thought it was. It was just a basement. According to the pastor of the church, there was a bunker where after the night vigil, after a vigil, they go there to rest. And so they were moved to the police headquarters on Saturday. And let me tell you that these children, these teenagers who are among those people, were adamant. They said they are listening to the real word of God and that the God is using their pastor. They didn't want to listen to anybody. In front of the parents, they told them that this is the real way. They didn't show any sign of remorse. And they also said that you can post your story anywhere, any day. We don't care about it. We are serving the living God, and we know that our God will save us from the situation.
So in a sense, when the police went there, the police went to interfere with their peace and their holiness.
Well, they believe that what happened doesn't have happened because the pastor said that they were camped for 7 days when they were praying that they didn't want anybody to come and to stop them. At that point, they were unruly. They wanted to attack the policemen who came to rescue the children because they received complaints from different quarters about the attitude of this church. Let me also tell you that they believe there was a time they said Jesus is coming back and they're waiting in the church for the second coming of Jesus Christ so that they will be raptured, that they will be raptured in the church.
Well, Ayo, let's. I understand we still have the PRO with us. Let's bring her in the PRO. Madam PRO, I mean, these are indeed very interesting times for Nigerians, but for you and your command as well, men and officers of your command. It was only on June 6 or 5 when we saw the attacks in St. Francis Catholic Church, where I think about almost 40 or 50 persons were killed. And now again, this is another very big one again, even though no one has been confirmed dead. Children have been rescued, but they were kept there for quite some time. Some Nigerians think that the police have been overstretched, overwhelmed. How is your command receiving these, handling this kind of massive issues, not to mention the issue of the forest there with herders and always having this conflict between herdsmen and armed militias in the forest. Are you overwhelmed?
No, we are not overwhelmed. First of all, we've been working with other security agencies. We have a good working relationship. We've been collaborating. So we've been working well together. So for us, overwhelmed. But I think it's more on so many places. And of course, we keep saying this, when you see something, say something. We have our SIB, intelligence gathering, and of course, people can feel free to give us information. Like what happened on Friday, we've been able to handle it, and by Saturday, we've gotten 1 or 2 points. Of course, we've been able to release the children to their parents, and some other members too, they've gone back home. In fact, I had someone who called me yesterday and said, our sister left home since last year, and up till this moment, she keeps saying, I'm in Ondo town, I am fine. With my pastor, that he wants to even come around to come and check if the sister is part of those that were rescued in the church. We are not overwhelmed. We are doing everything within our power to ensure the security of lives and property in Ondo State. And like I said, other security agencies too, within the state, within the command are working. We all are working together. So we are not overwhelmed. We are not overstretched.
Of course.
Now, were you able to track how they were fed, how they slept, whether there were abuses, or whether anybody fell ill?
So far, we do not have anything like that. We do not have a case of anyone being abused or anyone being sick. But what we just noticed is just that, to a very large extent, I think they have been indoctrinated, and there's nothing anyone else will tell them aside from their pastors that they want to listen to or believe in.
So how do you want to establish, of course you've said that investigations are on, how do you want to establish if there is a prima facie offense that could have been committed here? Because a school of thought has said, what is the difference between this sect and those who go to the mountains? to pray. Of course, when you go to the mountain, there is this sense of, you seclude yourself from the ordinary worries, the cares and worries of the world. You leave what you're doing, and then you just go meditate, pray, and do whatever you like to be in tune with your Maker. How is it different from what we see in this instant case?
Well, to establish any case against them, that is why we have the legal section in the police. First of all, we will round up with the investigation. And of course, the legal department will give us the legal advice and tell us what they are to be charged for.
Yes, but I'm also asking, how is that different now? Or are you saying that this is different from when one goes to the mountain to pray? Since you've already established that there is no evidence of maltreatment on the victims.
The truth is, when you go to the mountain, you go of your own volition, you go there and pray and you leave. And nobody would deny your own family members access to you when you're on the mountain top.
Now, I also want to know, the pastor said Jesus was coming in April. Did they ask him whether that is reconcilable with the Bible? Because even Jesus himself said, the day and hour knoweth no man, neither the angel in heaven, but my Father only. How has he been able to even know it more than Jesus himself?
It's coming in September
what
now.
the pastor said was
September
that...
now.
September this time.
What the pastor said was that the church is a church that believes in vision, prophecies, and dreams. So he saw the vision. God told him. There are so many stories to that. Initially said he saw the vision, and he later said God told him.
All right, so back to Ayodeji. So now that we understand that a number of persons have been released, from your end, what is your assessment of the situation? Has the dust settled? Are people comfortable with this development?
What I know is that with this kind of situation,
That God is coming back. That initially...
Ayodeji, please carry on.
Many people are aware. Yes, because of what happened in that church and the way youth in that town mobilized to that church, it will be difficult for them to hold services if security is not provided for them, because people are already bitter about the situation and they don't want such situation to continue to happen. How come a parent will not be able to correct his children? Some children, most of these teenagers, they said they cannot go to the church their parents are going, that this is the only way they know, and that is the only way to get to heaven. So they don't want to listen to anybody. They don't care about what other people are saying. And because of this, many youths in that area are not happy, and because they have mobilized to that place before, and they will continue to mobilize to that church if something is not done.
Ayodeji, we are such a religious people. That gives me the sense that there may be more churches or religious centers, not just in Ondo states, across the country. But I wonder if you think that there are some other centers or religious centers and churches or mosques that probably could have this kind of underground cell where people have practically been, I don't know if the word is hypnotized or brainwashed.
I cannot confirm that for now, but I want to correct, it is not a cell. We don't have a cell in that church. It's a kind of an underground built when the church was actually established. So they said they go there to rest after a vigil. So it is not an underground per se or a cell per se, a kind of bunker according to the pastor of the church. What I want to say is that, one of these things, we don't know how it happened. We don't know how people go do something like this. And churches are meant for people to pray. They go to church to pray, and they go to the mountaintop to also seek God's face. So we don't know if things like these are also happening in other churches, but this has opened people's eyes to the fact that something like this can still happen in the world. I want to let you know one thing, that there was a church when I was growing up. They said, you don't need to watch television. And many people sold their television because of this. They don't wear transparent clothes. That was then. and many people followed them. They were preaching holiness and sanctification then. So that's the situation here in Ondo State.
I'd like to bring in the PRO again of the Ondo State Police Command. Madam Spokesperson, I'd asked earlier, where is the pastor of that particular church? We understand the assistant pastor has been arrested. How about the pastor of the church? And I'm wondering, is it possible for an assistant to become more powerful than the pastor? Mrs. Odulami, I don't know if you're still with us. We cannot hear you.
The last thing I heard is, where is the pastor? The last thing I heard you say was, where is the pastor or something?
Let me go over that question again. I had asked about where the pastor of the church is exactly. Is he also in your custody? Was he arrested? Because I understand that you said the assistant pastor is in your custody. Is the pastor also?
Yes, the pastor is also in custody. Yes, the two pastors are in custody.
All right. And then you said that you also said that for most of the complaints was coming for the assistant pastor of the church. So I'm wondering, is it possible that the assistant pastor is indeed more powerful than the pastor, or has the pastor been hypnotized?
Well, I can confirm if the pastor has been hypnotized. Even your correspondent can confirm this, that even when the interview was going on, it was more of the assistant pastor that was talking. The pastor was just there looking, and when you ask the pastor some questions too, he will stylishly say, ask my pastor.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
So what is the state of the church now? Is it sealed?
Yes, and the church is sealed, but we still have our policemen there. Because, you know, when issues like this happen, before you say Jack Robinson, a lot of people will just mobilize and we want to go and burn down the church. And we do not want anything, we do not want breakdown of law and order in that area. We do not want people to start committing another offense of arson. So the church has been sealed, and of course, our men are there just to ensure there is calmness in that area.
Do you feel that there is a longing by the adherents of the church to go back? Are they feeling that they are missing their pastor?
Yes, because on Saturday, after the whole thing, the parents that were there with their children that were church members, we told them.
All right, Mrs. Odulami, we'll leave it at this point now. We thank you very much for the time you spent with us sharing information about this, interesting case of an alleged abduction and hypnotizing members of, the sect.